Alrighty, we are going to start the Unit 1 Section 5 notes, where we are going to look at the coordinate plane and talk about how to plot coordinates. So if you look here, this is a coordinate plane where it is divided by the y-axis, which is your vertical axis, and your x-axis, which is horizontal. That divides it into 4 quadrants, as you see here, quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. The origin, where the axes intersect, is actually your origin, and those coordinates will always be 0, 0. So if we think about points that we will plot in quadrant 1, those points will always be positive x and positive y. In quadrant 2, our points will always be negative, positive. Quadrant 3, our points will be negative, negative. In quadrant 4, our points will always be positive and negative. Let's go ahead and find the coordinates of the points given. So if we look at number 1, we are going to try and find the coordinates of x. X is here. So in order to find x, we did not move on our x-axis. So our first coordinate is going to be 0. Then, instead of moving up, we moved down. So our coordinates are 0, -3. For y, we went over on our x-axis, so we went over +1, and we went down to -1. If you notice, y is in quadrant 4, so it is positive, negative. Z, we move over 4, then we move down -4, so our coordinates are 4, -4. Again, same rules because it's in quadrant 4. M, on the other hand, we're going to move to the left on our x-axis, so we will land at -4, +1. Again, M is in quadrant 2, so if you remember, quadrant 2 is negative, positive, which in fact is M, negative, then positive. Point N is -2, +2. Point P is +2, +4. If you look at point P is in quadrant 1, so it is going to be positive and positive, which in fact it is. Point Q is right here. We moved 2 over on our x-axis, but we did not move up or down, so its coordinates will be 2, 0. R, we moved -3 to the left, -1 down. Our coordinates are -3, -1. Now we're going to do the opposite. We have been given some plots to point, so we're simply going to plot them and label them on our coordinate plane. So if we look at point A, -5, -3, remember your first coordinate is always your x, and your second is your y. So we're going to move -5 on our x-axis, then -3. Right there is point A. Point B, we're going to move 2, then 3. This is point B. Point C, we have -4, and we're not moving up or down, so that's point C. Point D, we're not moving right or left because we have 0 as our x-coordinate, but we are moving +6, so up here on our y-axis is point D. Last but not least, we have E, which is 1, -2, which is point E. Moving right along, we are asked to make a scatter plot. Some of you may have heard of scatter plots before. Some of you this may be new for. A scatter plot is simply using a coordinate plane to display data. So this is our data here, and we're going to use a coordinate plane to display that. Scatter plots can also show a relationship or a pattern between the two sets of data. That's often what they're used for to demonstrate. So let's go ahead and look at, we have a table showing the number of women who finished the New York City Marathon from 1997 to 2001. We have the number of finishers within each year, and we have the years across the top. So we're simply asked to make a scatter plot and then describe the relationship. So over here to the right, I'm going to make our scatter plot, which is simply an X and Y axis. Along the bottom, I'm going to place our years. And hopefully your scatter plot on paper would be much neater than mine here, as I'm using a computer pen to draw these. And these are our years. Be sure to include a label along that axis. Going on our y-axis, we are going to have the number of women finishers, and I'm simply going to start this off at 1,000. So that's 1,000, 2,000, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Continue our axis up. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, hopefully your scatter plot would be a little neater, but along our y-axis, this is our finishers in thousands. So if we look at 97, we had 8,413 women finish. So we're going to go up 97 and try and match that as closely as we can. That looks good. In 98, we had 8,332. So just a little below that first dot, get as close as you can. In 99, we had 9,160. There we go. In 2000, we had 8,332. So back down. And then in 2001, we had not even 7,000, 6,853, which would be right here. I will let you look at the scatter plot and describe the relationship that you see there.